Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is Bintel Powell again, and I'm the CEO of Bandit Publishing, and I released a number of videos and explainer videos explaining a book, called Betrayed, that I wrote and did a media tour for a while back. The topic of the book the assertion of the book is that the black community is divided into two separate races, one light and one dark skin. This is a function of a vicious slave consultant named Willie Lynch. The whole notion of lynching is named after Willie Lynch. And he came and taught white slave owners how to get black slaves in America under control. And he had a bunch of diabolical practices that he taught the white slave owners to perpetrate on black people. One of which was something called bucking, which was to rape the male and the female slaves in front of each other, in front of their children. And this was practiced at such a high degree that it created an entire race of people that most people refer to as the mulatto race. And this race, or the light-skinned black people that were created as a result of this raping, were called the go-between, so that the white slave owner didn't have to come down in the slave quarters and actually talk with the black slaves. He would use his go-between to deliver information for him. But most specifically, Willie Lynch taught the slave owners to institute a hierarchy of value based on color, based on skin color. And this is where the whole brown paper bag test comes from. It comes from the residual effects of the raping, the bucking that happened at such a high rate that it created this mulatto race. And then he instituted the value system where the lighter skinned blacks were more valuable than the darker skinned blacks. And the whole notion of house nigger, excuse my language, the word nigger was the word nigger originally comes from the word Niger, which was in the ancient Egyptian language black god. But when Africa was carved up, they reinvented the word Niger into nigger, so that black people would never know the greatness of the people that they come from, and it worked. So that's the history of the word nigger. But so the whole house nigger and field nigger comes from the field niggers were the dark ones and the house niggers were the light ones. And theologists that have studied the black experience have said that the black community is actually behaving as two separate races, and that this light-dark issue is the thing that divides us and hurts us the most. It's the most painful issue in the black community. It's not discussed, and this is why I wrote this book. And I got a lot of flack from it. A lot of friends and people that I know, when I did the media tour, decided to dislike me. And when I just did this video, even some of the people who had done business with me are now really angry with me and said that I had no thesis, I had no basis to make such a statement. So this video is designed just to address that quickly. So I lived with my whole life with this. I'm from Jamaica, and Jamaican people are notorious for being color struck. Jamaican people love to marry white people. I have it in my family to an epidemic proportion. It's a thing in Jamaica. And when I was in college, a professor named Professor White, a very intelligent professor, the black professors at Northeastern had a huge effect on me. And this guy, Professor White, when I took his African American Studies class trying to graduate, I thought it was going to be an easy A. It was not. He changed my life. And he said a number of things to me that really shocked me and shook me and shaped, and he basically that class is the basis of these two books that I've created. And he said, well, first thing he said was that he taught at Harvard University, which was right across the road from Northeastern, and he said that came back and he said that the only difference between the education at Harvard and the one at Northeastern is that at Harvard they teach you that when you graduate and you become the CEO of American Express. And at Northeastern, they teach you that when you graduate and you get a job at American Express. And that is exactly why I wrote the formula. That statement right there upset me, it insulted me, it pissed me off. He said that the math is the same. You're learning the same math, but you're just learning how to apply the theories and the academia to create and own companies as opposed to working for them. And that really rubbed me the wrong way, and that's why I wrote the formula. He also said that many theologians have studied the black experience and come to the conclusion that the black community is divided into two separate races, although it doesn't want to admit it. And then he went on, and I thought that was, whoa, I mean, that really slapped me in the face. It slapped the entire class in the face. A lot of people said, no, and they started to scream at him. But my mother had sort of primed me up for that theory. So when he said it, I sat quiet. I was like, no, he's right. And then he went on to quantify it, which really shook me up. He said that a race of people are defined as A, a group of people that share like physical characteristics. B, a group of people that usually socialize, exchange information, ideas, and resources together. C, this group of people, they usually marry together. They usually marry one another. And D, the only time they deviate from the aforementioned behavioral patterns is when there is something for them to gain personally. So as a hypothetical, a light-skinned person will normally want to marry somebody that's light-skinned, right? But the only time they're going to come out of that and say, you know what, I'm going to make an exception, is if this dark-skinned person is just so successful and there's just so much in it for them that they have so much to gain by stepping out of that behavioral norm, that they're like, you know what, screw it. I'm gonna go rogue. I'm gonna marry a dark-skinned person because I stand to gain. I stand to profit greatly. And if you look at the behavior of light-skinned black people and you use the entertainment industry as a sort of a microscope to examine black society or society at large, and this is not just black people that do this, Asian people do this, Spanish people do this. These people are called economic mercenaries that come into a country and destabilize it using these hierarchies of color and race and divide and conquer. They do it to Spanish people, they do it to Asians. Anytime you see European or American people, fighting with some poor nation over, there's some resource there that they want to get, and they're using these tactics and strategies to cause a civil war. And while these people are fighting, they take their resources and slip right out the back door. The whole movie Miss Saigon is about the same thing. They did this to these Asian people as well. So this is common practice. It's really not that shocking, but because black people, I don't know, we fight against every race fights against it. So if you look at the entertainment industry, Jay-Z and Beyonce, I mean any couple, Nelly and Ashanti, even though they didn't get married. Who else? I mean, you can go down the line. Swiss Beats and Alicia Keys. All of these light-skinned power couples do that. Will Smith and Jada. It's almost so obvious. It's almost invisible. and that's why I wrote Betrayed, because this thing is very painful. And there's a whole laundry list of pain points that I can go into to discuss why it hurts black people. And the book is about that. So for people who said that I had no basis in theory and fact to make such an assertion, this slide is for you to show you that you are wrong.